Right off Africa's doorstep, these islands have been Spanish for over 500 years. This legacy of conquest, diplomacy, and the age of discovery shaped Spain. Welcome to what's known as the Canary Islands, the EU's largest overseas territory. Thanks to Mike, fellow filmmaker, for this footage. In the eastern Atlantic Ocean, off the coasts of southern Europe and North Africa, lies a group of islands known as Macaronesia. To the ancient Europeans, especially the Greeks and Romans, these islands marked the far edge of the world they knew. Today, Macaronesia forms a broad crescent-shaped chain of islands. It has 5 island groups: the Azores, Madeira, and Selvagens, all belonging to Portugal, the Canary Islands, or Canarias, part of Spain, and farthest to the south, Cabo Verde, an independent country. The Canaries are the largest in Macaronesia. The closest point is just 100 kilometers, 62 miles west of mainland Africa, and about 1,600 kilometers, or 1,000 miles, southwest of Madrid, Spain's capital. The islands are an autonomous community of Spain. They govern many of their own affairs, but remain an inseparable part of the Kingdom of Spain. From west to east, the 8 main islands are El Hierro, La Palma, La Gomera, Tenerife, Gran Canaria, Fuerteventura, Lanzarote, and La Graciosa. Why do the Canary Islands belong to Spain? Around 2,000 years ago, Berber people from North Africa settled on the Canary Islands. No one knows exactly how they crossed the sea, but they likely arrived before the Common Era. After centuries of isolation, they developed their own culture and became known as the Guanche people. In the 14th century, European naval powers expanded into the Atlantic, making the Canary Islands a key target. Located between Europe, Africa, and later the Americas, the islands were wanted by many seafaring nations. In 1402, the Kingdom of Castile, Spain's forerunner, began conquering the Canary Islands. But the campaign was far from easy. The Guanche fiercely defended their homeland. On Tenerife and other islands, they defeated Castilian forces many times thanks to their knowledge of the land and resistance. After nearly a century of fighting, Castile gained control of the entire archipelago in 1496. However, Portugal also claimed the islands, creating a rivalry that was eventually settled through the Treaty of 1479. Portugal officially recognized the Canary Islands as part of Castile. In exchange, Castile gave up most of its ambitions in the southern Atlantic, where Portugal was expanding its influence. This secured Castile's ownership among European powers. The Union of Castile and Aragon eventually created Spain, and the Canary Islands naturally became part of it. Canary's role in discovering America. After joining Spain, the Canary Islands became a key stopover for Atlantic voyages. Exploration fleets and merchant ships stopped here for food, fresh water, repairs, and favorable winds before crossing the ocean. This era of geographic discovery is known as the Age of Discovery, when Portugal and Spain led the world's greatest explorations. Nevertheless, direct voyages from the Iberian Peninsula in Europe to the Americas were difficult because the winds were not always favorable. Farther south, the Canary Islands lay in the path of the steady trade winds. Many historic voyages began here, including the famous journey of Christopher Columbus. A few days after leaving mainland Spain in August 1492, his fleet reached Gran Canaria. One ship had a damaged rudder, so Columbus repaired it and restocked fresh water, firewood, and other supplies for the long voyage ahead. From La Gomera, he caught the northeast trade winds, a steady and reliable wind pattern that carried his fleet across the Atlantic. 36 days after leaving the Canary Islands, the expedition reached an island in today's Bahamas, beginning lasting contact between Europe and the Americas. For over 5 centuries, the Canary Islands remained under Spanish rule. Despite attacks by pirates and foreign navies, no country gained lasting control. Today, the Canary Islands are Spain's farthest territory from Europe. They remain important for the economy, defense, shipping, and Atlantic tourism. Volcanic Islands. The Canary Islands cover 7,440 square kilometers, 2,870 square miles. They rank 13th among Spain's 17 regions. The Canaries are Spain's only active volcanic region in modern times. The islands have been forming for 20 million years from ocean lava. This process continues, making the Canaries one of Spain's most geologically active regions. The latest eruption happened on La Palma in 2021 and lasted almost 3 months. It buried thousands of buildings and created new coastal land, showing how the islands formed over millions of years. It was the largest eruption in the Canary Islands in more than 50 years. Most of the islands are mountainous, with steep slopes and deep valleys, usually highest inland, lower toward the sea. The 3 islands near Africa rise about 400 meters, while the 5 western ones exceed 1,000 meters. Many islands still have hundreds of volcanic craters scattered across the landscape beside fields of volcanic ash. From above, they look like the result of countless meteor impacts. The most famous peak is Mount Teide on Tenerife. It rises 3,715 meters, or over 12,000 feet, making it Spain's highest point. From some islands, you can see the Sahara Desert in Africa. Even so, the Canaries have a much milder climate. The cool Canary Current flowing along West Africa and steady trade winds bring moisture to the islands and keep temperatures comfortable, especially in summer. Most of the islands have a subtropical oceanic climate. The climate is almost ideal. Western islands, such as Tenerife, La Palma, La Gomera, and El Hierro, are higher and receive more rain. Their northern slopes are covered with lush laurel forests, cliffs, valleys, and pine forests. On Tenerife, average daytime temperatures range from 18 to 25 degrees Celsius. Highs are usually below 29 degrees Celsius. Mount Teide often has snow in winter. The eastern islands, including Lanzarote and Fuerteventura, are closer to Africa and have very little rainfall. The landscape is almost semi-desert, with lava fields, rocky hills, and sandy beaches influenced by the Sahara. They are about 2 degrees higher than Tenerife. Summer highs can reach 40 degrees Celsius. Population and administration. A typical view of the Canary Islands is modern coastal towns backed by dramatic mountains. Most people live on the wetter, windward sides of the islands, while the drier, leeward areas are much less populated. The islands are densely populated, more crowded than many parts of mainland Europe. The population is about 2.27 million. Population density is 305 people per square kilometer, behind Madrid and similar to the Basque Country of the Kingdom of Spain. The Canary Islands are also the most populated overseas territory in the European Union. After Castile took control, it encouraged settlers from the Iberian Peninsula to move to the islands. They brought Spanish, Catholicism, Castilian law, and government systems. Meanwhile, the Guanche population declined from war, disease, and assimilation. Those who remained gradually mixed with Spanish settlers, blending Guanche heritage into the new society. Today, most residents are Spanish. Around 20% have roots in Latin America or other European countries. People live on all 8 main islands. Tenerife leads with nearly 1 million people, followed by Gran Canaria with almost 900,000. Many smaller islands and islets have no permanent residents. One unique feature of the Canary Islands is that they have 2 capitals. Santa Cruz de Tenerife and Las Palmas de Gran Canaria share administrative duties, a rare system designed to balance power between the 2 largest islands. The larger island has its own executive and legislative branches. The other island has executive and judicial branches. The islands are divided into 2 provinces. Santa Cruz de Tenerife includes Tenerife, La Palma, La Gomera, and El Hierro. Meanwhile, Las Palmas province includes the islands of Gran Canaria, Lanzarote, Fuerteventura, and La Graciosa. About 80% of the population is Roman Catholic, and Spanish is the official language. Canary's economy relies on services. In the tourism sector, the islands welcomed a record 18.39 million visitors last year alone, including 15.69 million from outside Spain. As part of the European Union, with warm weather all year, the islands are especially popular with visitors from the United Kingdom, despite it no longer being an EU member, as well as Germany, Ireland, the Netherlands, and many other countries. Average spending per visitor is 1,539 euros, or about 1,760 US dollars. Total tourism revenue exceeded 24 million euros. Visitors come for sunshine, winter holidays, volcanoes, and island scenery. Water sports are also popular, including surfing and scuba diving. Thanks to steady trade winds, the Canary Islands are one of Europe's top surfing destinations. The islands are also famous for seafood, local wines, traditional food, and major festivals such as the Carnival of Santa Cruz de Tenerife, one of the world's largest carnival celebrations. Besides tourism, the Canary Islands offer some of Europe's most attractive tax incentives through the Canary Special Zone. Corporate income tax is only 4% compared with 25% in mainland Spain. The regional government promotes the islands as an international investment hub, especially for digital technology, software development, film and animation, video games, logistics, and international trade. Services and commerce make up about 90% of the local economy. Industry is small, mainly focused on food processing, beverages, utilities, and tourism support. Besides that, agriculture is also limited in many areas, but still produces canary bananas, tomatoes, grapes for wine, and other subtropical fruits. Most electricity comes from oil-fired power plants. Their fuel is almost entirely imported. Around 20% comes from renewable energy, mainly solar and wind power. Smaller islands like El Hierro combine wind power with pumped hydro. Extra wind energy pumps water uphill, then it flows back down to generate electricity when the wind drops. It has become a global model for renewable energy. The Canary Islands have a GDP per person of about 30,000 US dollars, close to the average across the European Union. Transportation. The Canary Islands have one of the world's most advanced transport networks for an island region. Tourism and trade depend heavily on it. The islands have 8 airports, and almost every inhabited island has its own. There are direct flights to major Spanish cities such as Madrid, Barcelona, and Seville, as well as many cities in the United Kingdom, Germany, France, the Netherlands, Italy, Ireland, North Africa, and soon Canada, with more international routes being added. High-speed ferries also connect the islands. The ports not only serve the islands, but are also important for refueling and cargo transfer. The 2 busiest are the Port of Las Palmas on Gran Canaria and the Port of Santa Cruz de Tenerife. Both can handle container ships, oil tankers, and large cruise ships. The 2 largest islands have free motorways, and both also operate light rail systems. The history of transportation in the Canary Islands, unfortunately, also includes one of the most shocking disasters in aviation history. On March 27, 1977, after a bomb explosion at Gran Canaria Airport forced many flights to divert, Tenerife Airport became overcrowded with diverted aircraft. In thick fog and poor visibility, a series of misunderstandings between air traffic controllers and flight crews led to disaster. A KLM Boeing 747 began its takeoff while a Pan Am Boeing 747 was still taxiing on the same runway. The 2 aircraft collided, causing a massive fire that killed 583 people. It remains the deadliest accident in the history of commercial aviation. After the disaster, the aviation industry introduced major safety reforms, including standardized radio communication between pilots and controllers, and wider use of crew resource management. Many experts believe the lessons learned at Tenerife greatly improved modern aviation safety. Interesting facts. Today, if you search for canary, you will probably see the famous yellow bird, also known as the canary bird. Many people think the Canary Islands were named after the bird. The truth is the opposite. The name Canary dates back to ancient Rome and comes from a Latin term meaning islands of dogs, not pet dogs. It actually referred to the monk seals found there. Later, people found a small yellow bird with a clear melodic song on the islands and named it after the Canary Islands. You can see snow and swim in the sea on the same day. It sounds unbelievable, but it is possible. The Canary Islands are known as the Islands of Eternal Spring because of their mild climate. In winter, Mount Teide, the highest mountain in Spain, is often covered with snow, while the beaches below stay warm with temperatures above 20 degrees Celsius or 68 degrees Fahrenheit. In about 1 hour, you can travel from snowy mountains to a sunny beach, something very rare anywhere in the world. Although the Canary Islands belong to Spain, they use Western European Time, UTC+0, the same time as Portugal and the United Kingdom. They are 1 hour behind Madrid and Barcelona. This is the only part of Spain with a different time zone from the mainland. Because of this, Spanish national television often says things like 12 p.m. in Madrid, 11 a.m. in the Canary Islands. The phrase una hora menos en Canarias, meaning 1 hour earlier in the Canary Islands, has become a familiar expression across Spain, especially on national television and radio. It's commonly heard right after the presenter announces the local time.
Estamos en directo, ha llegado el gran día. Empieza la nueva temporada de Una Hora Menos. Tenemos muchas ganas de volver a
This tradition began in 1969 with a program on Spain's national radio and is still common today.
Buenos días, estimados oyentes de radio. Son las 7 de la mañana, las 6 en Canarias. Arranca a esta hora. Es la mañana de Federico.
That's the Canary Islands, a part of Spain located just off the coast of Africa. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with a country, territory, or topic you'd like to see next. The map never ends. See you in the next video.